As winter approaches, the ripening persimmons are weighing down the branches. The restorers are busy working, paying little attention to the cold. A paving stone in the front of the Palace of Heavenly Purity is broken.
现在就这2块砖，是你们谁量了？砖量多大？
这不怎么量，说的怎么量？
啊，怎么量没说，反正说量多大了。
怎么4面的一面得小一点吧？他们说过这个吗？
没有。
今儿你从头来吧。
没有，先生。
这挖补这个比蛮地简单。
Few people pay attention to the paving stones they're walking on. But still, the stones are regularly inspected and repaired. Just like the Forbidden City has been over the past 600 years.
比如说你搁泥掉下来砖，把往里放，哟一看泥太少，还得提溜出来啊。所以说他搁这泥挺考验眼力啊。是吧？这，你是不是觉得打下去这样够呛吗？是不是觉得有点够呛？
This imperial palace has been standing proudly in its full glory. Thanks to timely restoration it receives whenever damage is spotted. Generations of craftsmen of all trades have honed their skills in this palace complex. The Forbidden City has been the object of continuous and regular maintenance, which has kept this ancient palace alive and strong, and will continue to do so. This is where craftsmanship has been passed down through the centuries. The Palace of Celestial Favour, prominent among the 6 eastern palaces, was the residence of the consort Dongol and other favoured imperial concubines. Now it's a part of the Bronze Gallery, where bronze artefacts dating back to the Shang and Zhou dynasties are exhibited. With their eyes glued to the bronzes, few people notice the blank space in the corner of the painted ceiling above them. According to historical records, the ceiling of this main hall was probably painted during the renovations carried out in 1697, which means that the paintings could be more than 320 years old. Centuries have passed, and the original painting covering this space has broken into several pieces. Now they have been delivered to a group of young restorers who will carefully patch it up and place it back where it used to be. Located to the north of the Ice House, the Department of Heritage Architectural Technologies is a bustling place, and its boiler room makes a perfect shelter for cats caught in the rain. This department developed from an engineering team established in 1953 and employed more than 400 craftsmen of all trades at its peak.
所以你那放手，对，那松手，这地一闷，慢慢它就过去了。这个脚上。
Zhang Fengbing, who specializes in colored paintings, is now focusing on restoring the missing portion from the ceiling of the main hall.
下边这一层一层的给它贴上，跟这地儿都开了。
The restoration work is highly challenging, but it provides a rare opportunity for young restorers to develop and practice their skills. It takes time to select and train capable guardians of the Forbidden City from the young generation, whose predecessors are reaching an age of retirement. The Palace Museum has initiated a long-term training program, aiming to attract young people to learn the techniques and skills that have been passed down since ancient times. Zhang Fengbing and another 4 students specialize in colored paintings. The remaining 4 students specialize in carpentry and masonry.
你看室外的冬季，室外这些修复什么的，尤其是瓦座这方面，天气条件不太允许了，所以在冬季一般进行砍砖。
这是我们自制的摩托，是用那个切钢筋的那个砂轮片粘在这个木头上的。以前的那个老师傅没有砂轮片，就只能上山里边找那些稍微粗糙一点的石头做这个东西。
Cutting bricks is a good way to hone one's skills. And repairing bricks is part of a mason's work. Masons play a key role in the maintenance of the palace. Time waits for no one. The Forbidden City is getting on in years. But time can't rob it of its magnificence, as the palace has been in good hands for hundreds of years and is still standing strong. Seeing that the restoration of the broken painting has reached a critical stage, Zhang Fengbing has enlisted the help of a senior colleague.
抽屉里还有没有我存折、零钱什么之类的？翻了吗？
零钱我都花了，
都花了。
存折取不出来也没用。
Yang Zehua specializes in the restoration of paintings and calligraphy. Yang and his colleagues from the unit of painting and calligraphy restoration used to work here 5 years ago.
干净多了吧？
干净多了，对，干净多了。你看这颜色还是变了哈，颜色你看还。你现在就这儿都出完了。
嗯，对。
那儿吧。这时候就恨自己胳膊短了。
啊，对，就是那感觉。
好，
这块是这儿的。
你瞧瞧。
有可能是这儿的。
对，你看细头不行，这太细了。
细了吗？
这后脚。
这细头差不多。
行，哎，可以，真棒，这家伙打得真好。吃到点了吗？吃到点了吗？
就等着您夸我呢。
太棒了。
直有点轻轻压，一遍一遍压，别着急一下，因为它现在浆糊是滑的，你太使劲它跑了，你还得小心这纸别粘在上面。完了，你回去那边挣工分去。我先回去了。
谢谢。
The presence of young Zihua has reassured the youngsters. Zhang Fengbing and his colleagues continue to glue the pieces together using wheat paste made from flour, like their predecessors did. Restoration requires one to be meticulous and patient. It'll take another year for this piece of the painting to return to its original position on the ceiling of the Palace of Celestial Favour. The students majoring in masonry are tasked with repairing a palace wall. Courtyards hide behind these towering palace walls, which have separated countless people from the outside world over the years. Red is the colour people associate the palace with, and the red walls make an ideal backdrop for visitors who want to record the day with a photo. A surprising fact is that seemingly identical walls are actually different from each other. Each having a unique structure and texture. Being trained here means you get first-hand experience. The students listen intensively to the instructions of their teacher, are going to give this century-old wall some cosmetic surgery.
你得这样，我给你来两下试。你看啊，这回啊上来一般的都是，你看它不滋润的时候，你就倒腾一下。你看这合二为一的，跟厨子颠勺一样，你知道吧？你不能那傻子那么，这个挥板不动，那哪成啊？是吧？你看我这铁灰就没有说这弄我身上，你看这不叫鱼鳞底儿。
Wu Shengmao, who joined the Palace Museum in the 1970s, knows the wall like the back of his hand.
先把这个缝我先给它串上。
Mortar repointing, a process involving packing mortar between the bricks using a trowel and then adding with pottery fragments in the gaps, is usually conducted before the wall is plastered.
你先这样吧，先别搁瓦上，先用灰把这灰拽进去，对，拽进去，对，哎，来回一肘它，把那灰再扒拉出来，哎，就把那浮灰带出来了，这就生了根了，要不然你这没生根，将来这块就是空鼓的地方。这块往这儿你就塞进去，看行不行？塞进去，哎，底层越牢固。 它最后这墙面最后抹完了以后啊，它将来才延年呢。有点太湿了，灰太稀，这灰太稀。如果这要有定额的话，说实在的，你们真是连饭都吃不上。看书弄电脑都行，这干活咱干这行业了，就得往这行业里钻。哎，我怎么把它干好？师傅平时怎么教我们来的？这都是经验，哎，慢慢来。但是一定有脑子有这个意识。 水平怎么样，就下午看见自己的啊，自己的。行，这么着吧。
2 coats of plaster, which mainly consists of hydrated lime mixed with strands of flax and a kind of red clay powder, are then applied to the surface. This kind of plaster can effectively prevent cracks in the walls and is an iconic shade of red, a symbolic colour of the Forbidden City. The courtyard adjoining the East Prosperity Gate was where the Office of Ceremonies, charged with preparing outings of the emperors and empresses, was housed during the Qing dynasty. This place has been transformed into a warehouse, storing a whole collection of stone and brick components that were once part of the palace.
因为我们提的这3件文物只是故宫特别不起眼的一部分，它对于别的展览可能意义没那么大，因为别的展览可能要美观、要纹饰。我们是认为我们看的是工艺，我们要你能看到他对他做过什么，对他有什么手工艺的操作，所以虽然是残件，但是对我们意义非常大。
Wang Liying, who has a special interest in the research and conservation of traditional craftsmanship, is trying to decipher the secrets behind these stone blocks. These cultural relics, created by craftsmen living centuries ago, have now become objects of interest for modern scholars and restorers who want to learn more about the history and the art they embody. This courtyard was where the kitchen of the Palace of Compassion and Tranquility was located in the early Qing dynasty. It was converted into a workshop in 1691 to satisfy the increasing demand for imperial artefacts. Now the Department of Heritage Architectural Technologies will continue the legacy of traditional craftsmanship that the courtyard has been proud of for so long. But first, this place needs a bit of cleaning and tidying. Apart from levelling and restoring the ground, other kinds of archaeological studies will be carried out here, so we can learn more about this courtyard.
我带着。
现在就得说你带着我。
行，我请着您。
那个你去过吗？他们那窑现在就保留就那一个了。
临清的我还真没去。
哦，之前搞这个搞那墙灰。哦，对，应该是。
Li Zhengling, a National Master of Palatial Architecture Techniques, is here to help the students finish the plastering of this wall.
这小块还不都弄完了？这不就一会儿的事儿？你们这动作快点，手里头都麻利。
Li, who believes that a picture speaks 1,000 words, joins the students in their work while giving out instructions. This time, he's demonstrating the right way to apply plaster.
这就行了。行。一遍操着点儿，一遍让它总底平。
It's all done in less than 20 minutes. The wall now looks smooth, just like new. The traditional methods of craftsmanship have been passed down from teacher to student, and different teachers often have different interpretations of their trades. Part of the wall standing on the west side of the Hall of Mental Cultivation has become an experiment site showcasing works done by different master masons. The Department of Heritage Architectural Technologies is hoping to set up a standard procedure for wall plastering by recording and analysing the work done by different individuals. In a few days, the students of the department are going to carry out a special task. Today they'll take on the role of teachers.
太紧张了。各位同学、老师，大家上午好。我先做个简单的自我介绍啊。我来自故宫博物院修缮技艺部，然后我是07年入的职。我在我的工作岗位上已经工作12年了，主要呢从事的是官式古建营造技艺的研究，还有培养、保护工作。
The Palace Museum has been working closely with middle schools and high schools across China in recent years, providing learning opportunities for youngsters who are interested in this field.
整，点一头，从这边推，从这边推啊，给找平了。
那地粉先得看那图。这开始从这儿，手一定要扶着哈。 这从身上，这腿从这儿过来，到那儿，呼吸跟呼吸连，腿跟腿连。你先把呼吸连上。
这样可以回一遍，你看你这细了吧？
Although the students from the Palace Museum are still relatively young and have a lot to learn, they're masters who work wonders with their tools in the eyes of these teenagers. For hundreds of years, ancient architectural techniques have been preserved in this way. Liu Renhao, a Tsinghua graduate who majored in architecture, is now a member of the Department of Architectural Heritage and has developed a strong interest in the traditional materials used in the restoration of cultural relics.
文物修复这个东西是没有完的，你永远可以让它做得更好。我们现在就是希望的是说，想要做到给每一件文物都建立它自己的一个病例。
那如果比如说再过200年，故宫800年的时候又要修这些东西，那当时的人就知道说600年前这些人他做了什么，用了什么样的材料和工艺。
The Qianlong Emperor instigated the renovation of the Palace of Tranquil Longevity in 1770, which is now often referred as the Qianlong Garden. The first building you see after entering the garden is the bower of the ancient catalpa, which features a carved ceiling made of Phoebe's Zenon wood, unlike most of the ceilings in the Forbidden City, which are decorated with coloured paintings. The ceiling, carved with botanical patterns, may look modest when compared with the gilded ones, but it fills the room with a sense of refinement and elegance. The Qianlong Garden has been under renovation supervised by the Palace Museum since 2001. The Palace Museum has secured help from many professional institutes from China and abroad during the restoration, which has seen new technologies being applied and providing a learning opportunity for young restorers. As a participant in this renovation project, Liu Renhao has studied almost all of the adhesives available on the market.
文物保护用的最多的是这个叫做 B72的东西，它是一种丙烯酸基的树脂。它的一个好处就是它是真的可逆。那比如说，现在这个，现在就是用胶一个特别大的问题就是它那个胶吧，它会自己把它的盖子跟瓶子，对它非常的牢固，就是 然后那就是现在我就后悔了，他俩粘上了，我就怎么办？怎么能把它弄出来呢？我们就用丙酮，我们天天都干这个，特别搞笑。就我们这儿的胶天天都会把自己给粘在一起，然后过一会儿它就开了。然后这个也可以验证一下 B72是一个可逆的材料，啊，还是可以打开的。老师傅们啊，用的都是猪皮，传统的方法就是把手蘸进去，然后你要这样来试。就是你要试这个胶，就是等你的手开始感觉到就被粘在一起有粘度的时候，你就大概知道这个胶，比如说会给你多长时间来操作。就是我们其实特别怕这种很快就能让东西粘上的胶，像502这种，就是你贴上去之后你就不能后悔了，这个事儿就挺吓人的。你看我现在的手已经看，就是你要使很大的劲儿才能把它拔起来了，那就说明在咱们聊天的这段时间里，其实对于我来说，我都还可以后悔，我把这个东西取出来就行。但现在就是对不起，这个东西已经没有机会了。那比如说这个是一个文物，那现在假如说我们过了100年之后，有人在观察这个文物。那他怎么能知道这个胶说是2020年粘的，不是乾隆的时候粘的？比如说你用了 B72，那大家当然知道这 B72不是乾隆时候的，那个时候没有丙烯酸树脂，就是因为文物它很大程度上的变化，就5年、10年之内，就是你可能10年后才能看到它的变化。
By gluing the broken pieces together, the restorers connect the past with the present. Liu Renhao took part in the restoration of the Qianlong Garden when she was still a postgraduate student and joined the Palace Museum after graduation. Having started out as a student herself before honing her skills during renovation projects, Liu is now a lecturer, teaching the next batch of young restorers. The renovation work is proceeding southward as scheduled, and more challenges start to emerge, keeping the experts and restorers on their toes.
反正就是宗旨，就整体的尽量能最小干预，然后最大限度保留历史信息对，然后能保留都保留下来了。
A seminar about the conservation of coloured paintings is being held at the Department of Architectural Heritage.
项目的内容主要是对3座建筑呢，还有这个匾额，包括什么内容？就是现场病害成因的分析还有彩画的这个周边微环境调查，包括这个材料就是颜料、胶料。麻纤维、地障各种材料组成
这个东西，因为虽然都是可能每个房子、每个建筑有区分，但是大体的一些基本规律应该能摸到了。病害也好，材料也好。
Wang Shiwei, the former chief engineer of the department, was there when the renovation of the Qianlong Garden first started.
要的就是说，我原来很脏，但是现在我经过我的处理，对，展现原来的面貌了。可能是那你这麻没有拔灯？
麻起加固作用
起加固作用。PK 说要保100年，有可能吗？这一阶段可能作业时间稍微得紧张。
Now the project is finally drawing to an end after 20 years, and Wang Shiwei has already retired. Still, he's often invited over to give suggestions when his expertise is needed. Wang and his colleagues have been to every corner of this imperial garden, determined to restore it to its original glory. Conservation of the coloured paintings in the garden has become a priority for experts from the Department of Architectural Heritage.
拉慢先测一下，看一下它的各项异性。
The Palace Museum has been actively cooperating with scientific institutes from China and abroad, facilitating the use of cutting-edge technologies to conserve cultural heritage.
看效果色线。
看平了没有？对，从这缝子竖出来一点胶。
整体已经贴到这上面了。
整体还可以。
After much consideration, restorers have decided to try a newly invented adhesive on the restoration of the Pavilion of Lofty Beauty. The Forbidden City has become a place for scientists across China to try out new techniques and materials. The style of the coloured paintings found on the pavilion developed from the Suzhou style. Landscape, people, flowers and animals are popular themes of the paintings. The dominant colours are cyan and green. Cracked and peeling, the paintings need immediate repair. The first thing restorers need to do is to clean the surface of the paintings and remove the dust, bird droppings and other contaminants. Then, adhesives are injected into the cracks of the paintings and will be left there to dry. Meanwhile, the paintings will be covered. With paper and wooden panels. Young Hong, an expert in coloured painting from the Palace Museum, has come to the site where the technicians are busy working, hoping to find something that will prove to be useful later. Apart from prolonging the life of cultural relics, restorers also want to set up a systematic and standard procedure that participants in later renovation projects of a similar nature can refer to.
我觉得这个彩画清洗比那个清洗什么那个家具有什么那个难感觉。老在外，但是尘土特别多，感觉。就是拿这棉签就一点点这么滚，对。
With the help of modern technology, the nearly 120-year-old coloured paintings look young and fresh again.
还得来。
你看见我的线儿了？
哪儿呢？我看我还没找着我这个点儿呢。这儿呢，这儿呢。
对，你看我这线儿比成这样了。
再往上点，没事。
Young Hong decides to make replicas of other coloured paintings with a high artistic value in the Qianlong Garden before the paint starts to crack and peel. In this way, the details of the paintings can be preserved and then referred to when repairs are needed. Chao Jianjun, a student of Mr. Wang Zhongji, a renowned specialist in coloured painting, has been invited over to paint the replicas with Young Hong.
绿好取，
关键是清型也有，但都褪色了，没什么。
那个先取样，然后回头到科技古实验室去检，对颜料的定型定量啊，就等于是这就体现原材料原工艺。
The replicas will be painted using the same materials and techniques applied in making the original.
上次传了13个，
对，
所以就有的外边单位的人可能就是
能看出点来吗？
Young Hong has bought samples extracted from the original to have them analysed.
都这么磨一遍。
对，它这个样品是夹在中间的，我只需要把这个横截面给磨出来。
Scientists can identify the paint by examining the particles revealed under a microscope. The sample contains a cyan paint, which was popular and used as a base color for most Suzhou-style colored paintings.
他可能先刷这个上面再照去。
对对，你说这，我就是想看看它这个细节，看。
对，它这得连入带。
所以这个取样位置的准确记录
非常重要，对，而且必须是咱这两部分人结合起来。
Now they know what paint they should use. Xiao Jianjun starts coloring the replica.
“它不是光那个文物的博物，对于我们来说，也是彩画的博物馆。其实真是的嘛，跟古人对话呢，现在就是，尤其是画那种难度大点的，那特别有兴趣。哎呀，真是一种感觉，哎呦，就好像跟一个老师在教东西一样的那种感觉，因为你跟别的老师学不到了，没那种机会。”
In his eyes, it's a privilege to take part in this renovation project. For centuries, the Imperial Palace has housed masterpieces created by unknown artists, for whom most modern artists still draw inspiration, even as they continue to break new ground in the world of art.
前面这个第二个坐着这个，从东边数第二个。对我爸那时就是在那个复员军人，以后就复员的故宫了，就一辈子在故宫，老故宫人。但是那时就是因为得癌症，因为2005年去世了。他原来一直是开光部主任。 每天下学的时候，然后从北池小学下学以后，就顺着那个河，然后那个走一圈，然后从神武门进来，然后我爸他们那部门就在这前面这一排13排，就那个神武门东大房那一溜。
The Hall of Ancestral Worship, as its name suggests, is where the imperial ancestors' spirit tablets were placed. A grand ceremony would be held here in honor of the imperial ancestors on the first day of the lunar year during the Qing dynasty. On the 600th anniversary of the Forbidden City, a hubbub has awoken the hall from its slumber. Building scaffolding-like structures was a traditional craft in China. In ancient times, palaces were built by craftsmen standing on structures, skillfully made of wood and flax ropes. Modern scaffolds are stronger and easier to make. With the scaffolds erected, the Hall of Ancestral Worship will undergo a thorough examination. The ceiling of the main hall is covered by gilded paintings featuring hedge bindweed flowers glittering in the light.
你们上次灯在哪儿呢？
Before, young Hong could only look up and admire the paintings like any other visitor. Now she can finally get a closer look at them.
呀，这上呢，谁给我照下灯？对。
It'll be at least another century before another examination of this scale is carried out.
故宫的建筑里头，哪个是用金量最多的建筑？也许有人就要回答说是太和殿，是不是？你会想到这个，但其实不是，用金量最多的就是奉先殿，它前殿全部是那个混金的。上梁，在民间的时候吧，它会放铜钱儿啊。 但是呢，像皇帝的一些宫殿建筑，基本上都画上彩画。
The ridge beam, covered with coloured paintings, sits at the very top of the roof framing. Although the paintings are hidden from sight most of the time, they are still an example of superb craftsmanship, like the other parts of this imperial palace. It is said that if multicoloured clouds appear in the sky when a palace is finished, it symbolises good luck. That explains why multicoloured clouds were painted on the ridge beam. The owners of the palace believed that this hall was blessed by heaven and would stand forever.
奉先殿，奉先殿后殿，明间吉林。
To make full use of this rare opportunity, Young Hong has again enlisted Xiao Jianjun's help to make replicas of these unique coloured paintings.
那这跟以前别的地儿有啥不一样？
以前我们够不着这个，它那架子特别高。 没架子，然后你登梯子你又不敢，太危险是吧？你上去还不具备这种条件，所以说现在你像这种香友的图案，终于是弄成真的了，可以一下把它塌下来了，特别好，机会很难得。我还手上呢，那我先下去了，老崔啊。 回那个古建部以后，把这个照一下相片，特别漂亮。它那种大气劲，无法比喻的，就是老手艺人那点精华体现出来。干这个活儿特别有意义，自己干的就有意义。
人民快乐的像个孩子，现在就是。
对，我不是因为录像特别高兴，因为我画着这个特高兴。你要是看见一个很好的那个纪录片儿，你那种高兴劲儿，是不是很崇拜？是不是很想体验一下？就是那种感觉。这像战场上下来的人啊。
先战场，
真的不用化妆，
不是这才拍的是自然的状态。
Restorers have happened upon architectural remains when they were repairing the paving in this courtyard. An archaeological project kicks off in the winter of 2020.
把这个砖缝给露出来。
这冬天经过一晚之后，这个土冻得跟特别的坚实。 你看，这个都已经结冰了，已经。
Wu Wei, who has just returned from Fengyang, immediately starts working at this new site.
现在我们看的这个位置，就是能够，就是可能揭示出明初这个紫禁城营建时候的一个印记吧。对，好，就西边。还没到啊，啊，就11米，11.1。
What they've found is a foundation made of bricks supporting a stone column. The size and spacing of this kind of foundation decides the size and grade of the palace built upon it.
虽然困惑很多，就是不知道它是一个到底什么样的一个未知的宫殿，但是已经揭开一点它的面纱，就是哦，这个宫殿很大，而且跟明初有很密切的关系。这边可以看到故宫的600年，对，就是从地下就是到地面到周边就是600年。这个太不稳当了，坚持住，师傅啊！
我觉得是你该坚持住。
你们不要说，不要说。师傅扶好了，我的命就靠你们了。
Wu Wei and his colleagues will proceed with their work, and soon enough, they'll be able to tell us more about this mysterious building and the secrets it holds.
可能故宫里面就说没有一个建筑或者没有一个遗址说它就是一个单纯的时代。它全部是一个历史的一个集合。
The palaces we see in the Forbidden City have been standing there for centuries. These witnesses of history have been the recipients of continuous conservation and maintenance, and their legacy will continue in the hands of future restorers.